Good evening, Professor and peers. I thought I would upload and post this video as a way of recording my progress thus far with this mini ethnography and also show you some of my findings. And at the end of this, I hope to get some feedback. So let's go into a little bit of the introduction to get a little bit of a context of my research. First, anthropology is defined as the study of human societies, cultures, and their progression through time. In order to successfully study this discipline with respect to a certain demographic, the environment of the population must be considered. In recent years, the environment has changed. The internet has served as a burgeoning platform, a unique third space. Now, societal phenomena transcend the physical environment and have transferred into the realms of various social media platforms. Centuries-old forms of prejudices and discrimination within society have infiltrated social media. However, it is by social media usage and activism that one form of discrimination, colorism, is being challenged and combated. An example of this is seen with the Filipino and Filipino American users on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. These users have tackled the societal issue of colorism through the use of social media. They post pictures of themselves, or selfies as we know them, with the hashtag Magandang Morenix, which translates into beautiful brown skin. This movement empowers users and serves as a new standard of beauty that is accepting and inclusive, free from restrictions of the colonial past in the Philippines, which ascribed to a Eurocentric standard of beauty that was harmful and damaged public perception about what it means to be beautiful. My academic paper seeks to uncover the ways in which Filipino and Filipino American users are challenging outdated and harmful notions of beauty while establishing their own healthy and inclusive ones. And I also seek to look into the socio-cultural effects of online activism and the implications for future research. Alright, so let's get into the history of demographics of site. The hashtag Magandang Morenix is new. It was first used in 2017 by Asia Jackson, who is an actress and a model. Activism in the social media age, however, existed as far back as 2013 in response to gun violence and shootings. In an article by Pew Research, the hashtag Black Lives Matter was used on Twitter more frequently in response to major news events. Common usage of this hashtag persisted until 2018 with the rise of gun violence involving members of the African American community. Another Pew Research article revealed that almost half of Americans have engaged in political or social activities on social media. More specifically, 14% of Americans stated that they use hashtags related to a political or social issue. This is important to my research since the activism that I'm focusing on deals with the use of a specific hashtag along with pictures. This activism is called hashtag activism, which is a subset of online activism. The article titled Activism in the Social Media Age, Public Attitudes Toward Political Engagement on Social Media was authored by Anderson, Tour, Rain, and Smith. These experts found that the majorities of whites, blacks, and Hispanics all believe social media plays a very or somewhat important role in doing three things: getting elected officials to pay attention to issues, creating sustained movements for social change, or influencing policy decisions. Other hashtags proved to be influential in the year 2017, such as Lahu Ka Lagan, Ain't No Cinderella, Me Too, I Will Speak Up, and many more. Given the history of the demographics of the site of course being social media, there is a sense of open possibilities and opportunities with regard to activism. Multiple communities have come together on social media in order to bring awareness to social issues. Some of these issues are specific to the group's ethnic struggles or experiences. Moreover, these activists have expressed confidence that their activities on social media have implications online and in the real world. Activism in the digitized third space has the potential to bring about progress and positively augment or change the lives of users as they navigate both the digital and physical world around them. So far, it is evident that the demographic of social media users largely consists of people that seek to engage in activism with their respective communities and draw attention to seemingly isolated issues on a bigger, broader, and inclusive platform. Social media encouraged the Magandang Morenix activist movement to develop. previous online activists and users have gathered together and organized online movements through the use of hashtags. This serves as a precedent for Magandang Morenex and shows the potential for this movement to, like other online activists before it, catalyze change. Now I'm going to go into the history of the population study, or population of study. My population of study consists of Filipino or Filipino-American social media users, basically social media users of Filipino descent. To narrow my research, I decided to look at the activity of users on the platform of Instagram. Since the issue of colorism largely predates the existence of social media, I thought it would be best to first discuss the original context of colorism faced by Filipinos and Filipino Americans. So I will first define colorism and then discuss how it affected the Philippines during the early years of colonialism. Then I will analyze how colorism has persisted, as well as the ways it has manifested and affected Filipino and Filipino Americans. And then I will transfer my focus to the social media platform of Instagram and observe the Filipino and Filipino American users there to see how the population of study acts on this specific platform. Colorism is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as the prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Alice Walker, an activist who is most credited with coining the term, defines colorism as the prejudicial or preferential treatment of same-race people based solely on color. European occupation, colonialism, and influence in the Philippines spurred the existence of colorism among Filipino people. The Philippines endured more than 300 years of Spanish rule. During this time, the Spanish constructed a hierarchy of race, class, and color that Rondia and Spicard describe in their work Is Lighter Better? The two experts explain that Filipinos desired to abide by a European aesthetic of beauty in order to obtain a higher status in society. Skin tone-based discrimination has persisted into the modern age, even during the diaspora that occurred in the 1980s and 1990s when many Filipinos migrated to the United States. Colorism was evident in advertisements, movies, television shows, and other forms of media. Products to lighten skin were marketed towards those who wished to obtain the desired lighter shade. So as I researched, I thought, what if the tool that pervades such harmful beauty standards could be liberated and instead used to support healthier and all-inclusive beauty standards among Filipino people? It was then that I discovered the use of the hashtag Magandang Morenex and found that users of Filipino descent were active on Instagram not just as consumers of advertisements or content, but as creators of content of their own. Now I'm going to discuss the role of reflexivity in my ethnographic study. I quickly want to add that the concept of reflexivity was crucial to my research. I understood the process of reflexivity to be when a researcher tries to understand how their personal values and beliefs affects their research. The process of reflecting and analyzing how my beliefs, experiences, and background influenced this ethnography was key to my research. Since I myself am of mixed race and have Filipino heritage, I have witnessed and experienced the harmful effects of colorism and prevalence of Eurocentric beauty standards myself. I myself am part of the very population that I am studying, since I am both Filipino-American and because I'm an active Instagram user. There were many times where I had to step back and distance myself from my research and come back reminding myself that I am a student, I'm a researcher, I'm not a participant in this specific case study. I had to look at the way colorism has affected the Filipino or Fil-Am community as an outside observer, and I also had to look at the way that Instagram users combated colorism through their online posts as an online observer, not as an active participant within the population of study. So now let's discuss a key contemporary theory that I explored. One theory within anthropology is cultural ecology. Cultural ecology occurs when humans adapt to social and physical environments. I believe that my population of study, Instagram users of Filipino descent, participated in cultural ecology when they engaged in online activism through Instagram as a social media platform. In earlier history, it was the media that perpetuated Eurocentric standards of beauty. Notice, it was the media that perpetuated these harmful beauty standards. Now that ordinary citizens can post content of their own on personal Instagram pages, they themselves are engaging in cultural ecology. Rather than just become formed and shaped by their environment, the Instagram users are responding. They're not just receptive, but reactionary. They respond to harmful advertisements or content by producing their own. I believe that the Instagram users, in this sense, are acting as agents for their own desired change within society. They are not just mere recipients of whatever the media is producing. So let's go into some interesting observations and high points and a basic summary of my research. As I explored the usage of this hashtag, I found that it accompanied posts, pictures, and content of all kinds. I got in touch with an Instagram user with the handle Jenny from the Block, and she kindly gave me permission to share some of her content in this video project. Jenny created an art page called Kayu Mangge, which displays artwork that represents Filipinos, especially those who have mixed ancestry and might not feel that they fit into the Filipino community. It is important to note that this art page, Kayu Mangge, means brown skin in Tagalog. One image depicts two women fiercely clad in the traditional Mara Clara-style traditional Filipino dress. These women have curly hair and brown skin, representative of Filipino beauty that is free from Eurocentric standards. I also contacted the creator of Nara Studio, a store in New York dedicated to the creation of ancestral, indigenous, and handmade heritage goods of the Philippines. The pictures on their Instagram page boasted a wealth of visual artifacts to incorporate into my research. Some photos included individuals pictured wearing traditional Filipino garb and regalia that is associated with indigenous tribes and less affiliated with European or Spanish influence. I found it incredibly impactful and profound that the creators of Nara Studio sought to reach into the past while bringing it into the future, into the present, by technology as their aid. I found their efforts to redefine beauty through the preservation of indigenous culture very effective and influential. These pictures, posts, and pages on Instagram prove that social phenomena, no matter how long it has been integrated within a population, even though it's been over 300 years, can be combated and replaced by an activist movement. I learned that redefining physical beauty, ties into recapturing, honoring, and proudly representing other forms of beauty that transcend just the physical. The Magandang Morenex movement encompasses linguistic beauty, cultural beauty, and artistic beauty, all for the sake of preserving the Filipino culture, even on this modern, digitized social media platform. So now I'm going to synthesize the above key contemporary theory with the help of class materials. A specific example of a class material that inspired and aided me in my research was Becky Scholthe's written work titled Disposed Leaders, YouTube, and the Contested Language of Arab Uprisings. In her research, Scholthes covered the different forms of the Arabic language. She was especially interested in examining how that language changes on an online format, and also some unique alterations that online users apply to the language, which in turn reveals some information about their identity as a speaker of the language and their identity as an online user. A viewer on YouTube by the name of Mr. Osamo used an Egyptian variety of Arabic using the English alphabet. He was typing this in a YouTube comment. Since he seemed comfortable using American English slang and Egyptian street style, in quotes, phrasing, Scholthes assumes that he is probably well educated and greatly exposed to media consumption. With respect to my research, the use of the hashtag Magandang Morenex reveals a person's socio-political interests and struggles. The fact that they are willing to participate in this movement shows that they care about the image of themselves that they represent online. To them, it can be arguably assumed that social media is a tool to further activist movements. Their role online is not merely a superficial facade. Rather, it is an opportunity to enact change and bring awareness to an issue that is important to them. Now I'm going to go ahead and propose future research. I believe that future research could designate focus to another Asian American group, not just the Filipino or Filipino American community alone. Future research could be similar to the work done by Rondia and Spicard, in which the two experts provided a snapshot of multiple Asian American communities and their struggles with colorism. Rondia and Spicard covered the existence of colorism within the Filipino, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, and other Asian American communities within the United States in their written work. In order to substantiate their research with respect to these same communities on social media, newer research could concern hashtags concerning Korean, Vietnamese, or Chinese users. The Magandang Morenex hashtag is unique for its use of Tagalog, or the Filipino language, as a creed or motto that repeats or that represents social change. It would be interesting to see a hashtag representative of the struggle for colorism in other Asian communities that utilizes their unique languages as well. Now I'm going to propose research questions for future research and suggest methods that could possibly be used. A possible research question for future research could be, in light of the popular hashtags such as Black Lives Matter, Magandang Morenex, Love Wins, Resist, and Me Too, what is an example of an unsuccessful hashtag that aspired to start an activist movement but lost popularity? What caused its low usage on social media, and what exactly makes an online movement successful or unsuccessful? What qualities must an online movement have to gain a strong following on social media? I also want to ask, how have politicians and influencers on social media acted as a forum for socio-political activism as well as communication between decision makers? Basically, I want to ask the question, how has social media and those that participate through that social media, how has it acted as a new arena for change, for political change? And lastly, I'm going to discuss contributions of future research to a specific STS, social science. Future research can yield contributions that would be valuable to how experts and students understand social media's role in galvanizing social and political change, especially social issues that are unique to a certain ethnic demographic. I feel as though issues that affect a specific ethnic group must be discussed in the STS social science field so that other members of the online community who might not be members of that ethnic community can gain a sense of understanding and awareness. Online communities could potentially collaborate and connect in order to remedy social ills that impact them. In terms of colorism, I believe that the benefits of discussing colorism in this aspect are manifold. One of the important benefits of discussing colorism on a large multi-communitive scale would be joining together various ethnic groups or ethnic communities on one online platform. As I did my research, I understood that colorism affects many ethnic communities, not just the Filipino community. An article by Lori L. Tharps, an associate professor at Temple University, revealed that colorism exists in African American communities, Hispanic communities, as well as other Asian American communities. So it is the hope of future research to join these multiple ethnic communities together, and I believe that that would be very beneficial when discussed in the scope of STS social science. So that was my presentation. I really hope you enjoyed and that you were able to learn something from it, and I do hope that you will give me feedback. Thank you so much.